In the previous video of this series, Lines Lesson 2, we focused on practicing drawing and tracing straight lines, as well as connecting them to create a continuous line. In this video, we'll continue building on the line art we created last time by tracing over a template. You can find the link to the original coloring page in the description below. If you missed the last lesson and want to focus on this part of the exercise, feel free to download the coloring page. You can either print it out or import it into your drawing software. This time, our focus will be on line spacing, line control, line layering, and we'll continue practicing tapered lines. All right, let's dive in and start practicing. Let's begin with a simple crosshatch technique for the nose and eyes, which we briefly practiced in Lesson 1. We're focusing on line control and spacing, so let's strive for consistency in how we space our lines. I wanted to mention that the following exercises are just one of many ways to practice straight, controlled lines, or tapered lines. If you have any great practice ideas to share, feel free to tell us in the comments. Your suggestions could help someone or inspire new ideas. I want the bottom part and corners to be darker, so I'll add shorter lines in those areas. These lines can be at a different angle than before or the same. We'll apply the same technique to the eyes. We'll darken the corners of the eyes and the top part of the pupil. Let's keep it simple to start. We'll work with lines at a fixed angle, but we'll vary them in length. Your lines don't have to be perfect. If you're feeling a bit challenged, try holding the pen in different ways like we practiced in Lesson 1. It's all about experimenting to find what works best for you. Take your time, and when you feel confident, challenge yourself to speed it up a bit. Next, we will draw several vertical lines in a row, leaving a slight gap between the lines. Then we'll draw another row of vertical lines below, but this time, each line will be positioned directly in the gaps of the lines above. This way, the lines in every second row will align. If you're drawing digitally, the gap between the tip of your stylus and the actual canvas created by the screen glass can make precise drawing a bit tricky and may take some getting used to. Now we'll draw horizontal lines that are close together. Try not to make them too dark, as we'll layer the lines later to darken the top and bottom parts. Draw lines that taper at both ends. It's perfectly fine if the endpoints don't touch the geometrical contour lines of the wolf drawing. Let's add more layers. We want to layer the lines and explore how to build depth and texture through overlapping lines. Gradually darken your lines. You can always add darker lines later, but once it's done, it will be more challenging to lighten an area again. Do the same with diagonal lines. Let's change the line direction again. To add more depth, I will trace over certain areas of the line art, specifically the corners, both ends, and where lines intersect. I will do this as we progress through the entire piece. Next, draw horizontal lines with decreasing spacing between them as you move toward the top and bottom. This exercise will also help you practice controlled spacing. As for the claws, we'll discuss shapes and forms in a future video. But for now, let's take the surface structure of the claws into account for this part as we add some line work. Let's move on to the next set of patterns. You can use thicker lines than me, but you can also challenge yourself to draw really thin lines. This again is to practice controlled lines and also controlled spacing. If you are drawing traditionally and using a pencil, sharpen it really well and practice drawing super thin lines. Be careful not to use too much pressure to avoid breaking the tip of your pencil. We're going to darken some areas of the line art again. Let me show you an example over here, just in case you can't see what I'm doing. If your line art is already 100% black, you can skip this part. If not, use tapered lines to darken these areas. Now let's draw some straight lines again. Feel free to do as many as you want, and it's perfectly fine if your lines are thicker. Start by drawing a line in the middle and continue adding more lines. Just try to gauge the middle by eye. Next, we'll work on tapered lines. Let me demonstrate on the side. We practiced tapered lines in Lesson 1. Start the line by applying a bit of pressure, then gradually reduce the pressure as you lift the pen off the paper. Go ahead and draw tapered lines of various lengths. You can start at a slow pace and then gradually increase your speed. We're going to practice tapered lines again, but this time, make them closely spaced. Try to vary the lengths of the lines so they don't look too uniform. Let's leave this part untouched for now. We'll add some slightly curved tapered lines to this part. Next, we'll practice some lines that taper at both ends. Let's take a moment to work on this together. You can also draw lines back and forth, moving from left to right and then right to left. I forgot some lines here. And I forgot some lines here as well. Let's add a contour line right here to make things a bit easier. For the next part, let's take it a step further. We'll continue as before by drawing tapered lines that are fairly close together, but this time we'll add several layers of lines. Each pass will darken the area and add depth. Start with light pressure on the first pass and vary the lengths of the lines. Out of all the passes we will draw, make sure the lines in the first pass are the longest and lightest. On the second pass, draw over the lines again, keeping them generally shorter but mixing up their lengths randomly. Repeat this a few more times, keeping the lines generally shorter each time. Let's start here, and I'll demonstrate it at a slower pace at first before picking up the speed. You can occasionally add more pressure or go over a specific area multiple times to further darken it, but try to be a bit random so that neither the line length, the spacing, nor value appears too neatly arranged and uniform. One thing that might help you avoid being too neat is to draw the lines quickly. For this exercise, try not to overthink line placement. We want clean lines, but this time it's less about control and more about finding a rhythm and surrendering to the flow. We are again exploring how to build depth and texture through overlapping lines. This time, your lines don't need to be neatly spaced out. It's also okay if some lines are at slightly different angles. We will practice this further in a future lesson focused on adding structure to hair strands, so this will serve as good preparation for that. And just like before, we can darken the line art at the corners and intersections. the inside of the mouth with vertical lines. And, as the final step, we'll darken a few parts with additional lines. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed the content. If you did, I'd appreciate a thumbs up or a comment. To stay updated on future uploads, please consider subscribing and don't forget to hit the notification bell. Thank you for watching.